Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're looking at key terms that are related to women's roles. These terms show up in a variety of different time periods across APUSH, but typically discussed late in period 3 or early period 4. Okay, let's go. First is the patriarchy, which is an overarching term that describes European and then American society. In a patriarchal society, men have the social, political, and economic power, and women have few rights. While there are some Native American tribes, specifically tribes in the Iroquois Confederacy, that fit more of a description of a matriarchy, by and large, the rest of American society falls under a patriarchy for all of its history, and some would say today as well. Women had few property rights, especially if they were married. Unwed women actually had far more rights, but they had a much lower social status overall. During and after the Revolution, there was some talk of extending rights to women. A famous primary source is Abigail Adams' Remember the Ladies. In it, she writes to founding father and her husband, John Adams, to extend revolutionary ideals to women as well. However, John Adams and the rest of the founders will forget women when they form their new government and society. Separate spheres and the cult of domesticity are really one and the same. They are the dominant gender theory for much of U.S. history. With separate spheres, the idea is that men have their places and activities, and women have different ones. For men, their places are politics, work outside of the home, the tavern having drinks with their mates, and higher education like college. For women, it is the old trope of staying at home, cooking, spinning, cleaning, and taking care of the kids. The cult of domesticity specifies a few distinct attributes that would define a good and virtuous woman. The first is piety, in that they should be the religious center of the home, teaching their children from the Bible. Next is purity, which is to remain a virgin until marriage. Then we have submission, which is being obedient as a child to their parents, and as a wife to their husband. The argument is that God appointed men to the superior position. The last one goes back to a woman's sphere, and that is domesticity, which would be keeping a tidy and clean home, along with solid cooking skills. The last key term is Republican motherhood, which is influenced by the Revolution. It is the belief that daughters of American patriots should be raised to uphold the ideals of republicanism, which is more in the sense of liberty and equality. The ideal puts women in the position that they need to be educated for the primary reason of educating their sons to be good and informed democratic citizens in this new country and society. This is somewhat of an increase in status for women, as they are looked at as having an essential democratic role. It does lead to some educational opportunities, but it falls short of any real legal changes or advancements. To end on a little happier note, American women will take inspiration from the ideals of the Revolution and its core document, the Declaration of Independence. We see it in the Declaration of Sentiments, in which the authors use the Declaration of Independence as a template for their argument for rights for women. After decades of advocating and protesting for suffrage, it will finally be achieved with the 19th Amendment. And many other positive changes happened throughout the 20th century, including the Equal Pay Act, the Civil Rights Act, which also prohibits discrimination based upon a person's sex, and Griswold v. Connecticut, which struck down state bans on contraception. And there are many other victories as well, not mentioned. But the fight for many still continues today toward a more just and equal society. Okay, that does it for this video covering key terms related to women's roles throughout U.S. history. I got some more explanation videos in the works. This year is quite a grind for myself, and I'm sure for many of you as well.